I remember the night I stopped asking questions and started watching. It was cold, mid-February, one of those nights where silence settles into the walls and everything feels slower. She said she was going out with Maya, her old college friend, and I nodded, even though I hadn't heard that name in over a year. Still, I kissed her cheek and watched her walk out in heels too tall for just dinner, wearing perfume that only came out when she wanted to be seen. She said I was overreacting, until I showed her the camera footage from our front door, of him leaving at 3 a.m. That was the last time she had an excuse, and the last time I listened. But we're not there yet. Let me start with what led up to that moment, the slow unraveling, the soft, almost imperceptible way a life begins to shift. We'd been married 7 years. I was this steady one, the quiet, routines and socks in the dryer husband who made coffee at 6:45 sharp and ran the books for a mid-sized architecture firm. I wasn't flashy. I wasn't especially exciting. But I was dependable. I thought that mattered. For a long time, I believed it did. In the beginning, she made it seem like I was her anchor, like my calm made her feel safe. She used to sit on the kitchen counter and swing her legs while I made breakfast, stealing bites of toast before I could butter them. She'd ruffle my hair when I was shaving, hum under her breath while she watered the plants, say things like, "You and your spreadsheets. I swear you're gonna outlive the sun." But somewhere along the way, her laughter got quieter, and the pauses between our conversations got longer. At first, it was little things. She'd turn her phone over when I walked into the room. She'd start going to the gym twice a day, once before work, once after. Her texts turned vague. "Out late tonight, don't wait up." That kind of thing. And I tried to believe her. God, I wanted to. Because the truth is, love doesn't disappear like a blown-out candle. It flickers. It dims. It gasps for air for a long time before it dies. One night, about 6 months before the footage, I woke up around 2 a.m. I wasn't sure why. Maybe a noise, maybe just instinct. She wasn't beside me. I patted down the hallway, expecting to find her in the bathroom or maybe grabbing a snack from the fridge. But she was in the living room, phone pressed to her ear, whispering, "No, he's asleep. Don't worry." She jumped when she saw me, smiled too quickly. "Just Maya," she said. "She's going through something." It felt like a test, and I failed. I nodded and went back to bed, heart thudding, throat dry. I didn't ask questions. I didn't want the answers. I told myself trust meant giving space. But deep down, I think I was just scared. Weeks passed. The distance between us became a new normal. Our dinners turned silent. Our bed grew colder. And then, one night, after she came home past midnight with her lipstick smudged and a button missing from her coat, I decided to stop hoping. I installed the camera that weekend. It wasn't hidden, just a simple ring cam by the front door. I told her it was for safety. She shrugged and said, "Sure, whatever helps you sleep." It helped, all right, just not in the way she thought. The footage didn't lie. It never blinked. It didn't make excuses or spin stories. It just watched, quietly, faithfully, while I tried to pretend everything was fine. The first time I saw him, I didn't even know what I was looking at. He left our house at 2:57 a.m., hood up, hands in his pockets. I had to rewind 3 times before it sank in. He paused at the end of the walkway, looked back toward the door, my door, then walked off like it meant nothing. She got home the next morning around 9 a.m., claimed she stayed over at Maya's. I nodded again, made her coffee, didn't say a word. Instead, I waited, collected clips, names, license plates, patterns. I didn't confront her. I observed. Because here's the thing about betrayal. It doesn't just hurt, it hollows. It makes you question your memory, your worth. Whether you missed the signs because you were stupid or because you loved someone so much you taught yourself not to look too closely. There was one moment that sticks with me. She was in the kitchen, humming again, barefoot like she used to be, slicing strawberries for her oatmeal. And I caught myself wondering if maybe I was wrong. If maybe I had been overreacting. If all of this, the watching, the footage, the doubts, were just some paranoia-fueled spiral of a man who couldn't let go. But then, I heard her phone buzz, and I saw her face change when she read it. Not fear, not guilt, just amusement. Like whatever he wrote was a private joke I'd never be in on. Like I was background noise. A fixture in a house she didn't live in anymore. That was the day I stopped doubting myself. So when the final clip rolled in, him leaving at 3:03 a.m., hoodie down this time, eyes toward the camera, I didn't feel anger or heartbreak. I felt something much colder. Clarity. She came home at 10 that morning. I was already up, already dressed. I had the footage queued on the TV in the living room. She dropped her purse on the table and asked if I wanted anything from the cafe. I didn't say a word. Just hit play. At first, she didn't react. Just squinted at the screen, like she wasn't sure what she was looking at. Then came the timestamp. The way he looked right at the lens. The quiet sound of his footsteps on the walkway. She froze. He just needed a ride, she said, too quickly. I was helping him. He's a friend. I paused the video, looked her in the eye. He's been here 4 times in the last month. Always after midnight. Always leaving before sunrise. She swallowed, blinked fast. You've been watching me? No, I said, and I meant it. I've been watching the truth. And that's when she said it. That final gasp of a crumbling defense. You're overreacting. I just stared at her. Not with rage. Not with grief. Just with a quiet kind of detachment. Like I was watching someone else's life. Someone else's wife. I picked up the remote. Played the clip again. Watched her flinch. That was the last time she had an excuse. And the last time I listened. She didn't cry. Not right away. That came later. At first, she just stood there, arms folded tight across her chest like armor, mouth set in that sideways tilt I used to think was confidence. Now it just looked like panic trying to wear a mask. I walked past her into the kitchen. Put on the kettle. I don't know why. Maybe I needed something normal. Something that didn't feel like it was unraveling in front of me. She followed. Look, I didn't plan for it to happen, she said, standing in the doorway like she wasn't sure if she was allowed in her own house anymore. I didn't answer. He's not. He wasn't important. I turned toward her slowly. Then why was he here more than I was? That stopped her. I don't know, she said finally, and I almost believed that. Not the words, but the defeat behind them. I felt invisible. You were always working, always tired. It felt like I was talking to a wall. I nodded once. That part, at least, I could own. I know I got distant. I know I made you feel alone. She blinked, clearly not expecting that. But I wasn't going to pretend I was perfect. I had missed signs. Missed her. Maybe not on purpose, but sometimes neglect feels the same, no matter the reason. But, I added, voice even, I didn't lie. I didn't sneak around. I didn't bring someone into our home when you were sleeping 2 rooms away. Silence. Just the soft whistle of the kettle, building like pressure behind everything we weren't saying. You should have talked to me, I said. I tried, she whispered. No, I said gently. You tried to distract yourself. You tried to find someone who would give you the rush you thought you were missing. That's not the same. She walked to the counter, poured herself some tea, even though she never drank it. Hands shaking. I don't know how we got here, she said. But I did. We got here because she needed more than I knew how to give, and instead of telling me that, really telling me, she built a lie and moved into it. Decorated it with secrets. Painted over the guilt with half-truths and girls' nights, and empty reassurances. It didn't start with the guy in the hoodie. He was just the symptom. The disease had set in long before. I didn't sleep that night. I stayed up in the living room, watching the footage again and again, not because I needed more proof, but because I couldn't wrap my head around how calm it all looked. Like routine. Like they'd done it before. Like it wasn't just cheating, it was a second life. She slept in the guest room. Or at least, she stayed in there. I never heard her cry. Maybe she was past crying. Maybe she knew there was nothing tears could fix now. By morning, I had already packed a bag. When she came downstairs, she paused at the sight of it. Her face twisted, not in surprise, but in dread. You're leaving? She asked, her voice raw. I nodded. I need space. To think. To breathe. She stepped closer, hesitated. Is this, are we done? I stared at her for a long moment. You already ended us. I'm just catching up. She reached for my hand. I let her take it. Not because I wanted her back, but because a part of me still remembered the woman who used to fall asleep on my chest and murmur, "Don't ever leave me." It's strange how memory can echo louder than the present. She squeezed. Please don't go. We can fix this. I'll end it. I'll go to therapy. I'll do whatever you want. But that was the problem. It was always about doing what I wanted after the damage was done. After the truth was cornered and couldn't slither away anymore. Why now? I asked. Why does the truth only matter when you're about to lose something? She didn't answer. Because she couldn't. I pulled my hand back. I'm not saying we'll never talk again. I'm saying we can't talk now. Not until I'm not just the guy who caught you. Not until I'm someone you actually want to tell the truth to. She followed me to the door. Quiet. Still in the same hoodie from the night before. She looked small in it. Lost. I turned before stepping out. One more thing. She looked up, hopeful. That hurt more than I expected. Delete the camera footage, I said. I don't need it anymore. Why? She asked, voice cracking. Because I already believed in you once. I'm not going to spend the rest of my life staring at the moment I stopped. And with that, I walked out. Not forever. I didn't know that yet. I just knew I needed to feel what it was like to be outside of the story we'd been pretending was still a marriage. I stayed at a hotel for the first few days. Got a burner phone. Called my brother. Told him what happened. Not all of it. Just enough for him to say, "Damn, man. I'm sorry. You need anything?" I needed a lot of things, actually. Answers. Clarity. Sleep. But mostly, I needed to know I wasn't crazy. That I hadn't imagined the cracks. That I hadn't failed as a husband just because someone else couldn't stay honest. On the third night, she texted me. Just 2 words. "I'm sorry." I didn't reply. The next day, she sent another message. "I miss you. I wish I could undo everything." And then, do you think we could ever come back from this? I stared at the screen for a long time before powering off the phone. It wasn't that I didn't care. It wasn't even that I didn't love her in some wounded, residual way. It was that I couldn't unsee it. The footage, the timing, the audacity of it all. More than anything, I couldn't unhear those words. "You're overreacting." Like my pain was a punchline. Like betrayal wasn't betrayal unless it was cinematic. But I wasn't overreacting. I was waking up. And some part of me knew, deep down, there was still more truth waiting in the shadows. I hadn't seen the full picture yet. But I was about to. It took me 12 days to go back to the house. Not because I forgave her. Not even because I missed her. I just wanted my things, my records, my notebooks, the old shoebox full of photos I kept buried at the back of the closet, next to a pair of boots I never wore. I didn't tell her I was coming. I figured if she was home, I'd grab what I needed and go. No conversations. No flashbacks. But she wasn't there. The place was quiet. A different kind of quiet. Not peaceful. Hollow. The plants were dying. The kitchen smelled like takeout and unopened mail. There was a wine glass in the sink and a cardigan draped over the back of my chair. Hers now, I guess. I packed fast, room by room. Avoided the bedroom. Until I couldn't. I told myself I was only going in to grab my shirts. But the minute I stepped through the door, I knew something was off. The drawers were open. Her vanity mirror was smudged with fingerprints. And sitting on the edge of the dresser, half tucked behind a makeup bag, was a letter. My name was on it. Handwritten. Shaky. I almost left it there. Almost walked out without reading it. But something in me, the part that once sat through 5 hours of snowfall waiting for her flight to land, still wanted to understand. I sat on the bed. Opened it. You were right. About him. About all of it. I wish I could explain why I did what I did. But I don't think even I know anymore. It wasn't love. It wasn't some big, passionate escape. It was attention. It was flattery. It was someone telling me I was still interesting when I didn't feel like it anymore. You were safe. You were everything I said I wanted. And somehow, I still hurt you. There's no excuse. Just noise. I told myself lies to survive the guilt. That you didn't care. That you'd stop trying. That maybe you already knew, and it didn't matter. But when you showed me that footage, when I saw your face watching him leave, it hit me. I hadn't just betrayed you. I'd made you doubt yourself. That's the part one can't live with. I know you probably won't read this. Or if you do, you won't believe it. But I need to say it anyway. You were never overreacting. You were just finally seeing the truth I was too much of a coward to say out loud. Asterisk asterisk. I don't remember setting the letter down. I just remember staring at the wall, suddenly aware of the space between who we were and who we became. She didn't try to call again after that. And I didn't text her, not even to say goodbye. Instead, I moved. Rented a small apartment across town. Nothing fancy. Clean walls, hardwood floors, a coffee shop downstairs with a barista who remembered my name by day 3. It felt like breathing again. I started going to the gym. Not for revenge. Just to sweat. To move. To remember I still had a body that could carry me out of the past. I bought new sheets. A plant. A worn leather chair from a thrift store that became my new thinking spot. Every piece I added felt like reclaiming something. Time, space, identity. 3 months later, I bumped into an old friend at the hardware store. "Hey man, he said, clapping my shoulder. Heard about everything. I'm sorry. I nodded, offered a small smile. Yeah, it was a lot. He hesitated. Can I ask something? Sure. Did you ever get closure? I thought about that. About the footage. The silence. The letter. About the way she used to look at me in the mornings, like I was the only thing in the world that made sense. And how she looked that last day. Scared, not of being caught, but of being seen. I got the truth, I said finally. That was enough. He nodded. Glad you're doing okay. I watched him walk away, wondering if people ever realize how much weight they carry in the word okay. The truth is, I wasn't okay. Not fully, but I was healing. And that's different. Because healing means learning how to live with the wound instead of pretending it didn't happen. It means waking up one day and realizing the air doesn't hurt your lungs anymore. That music sounds like music again. That your name doesn't echo in someone else's lie. Months turned to seasons. I never dated right away. I needed space. To rebuild. To relearn what it meant to be alone without being lonely. Then, one night, I sat across from a woman at a quiet little wine bar. Someone new, someone kind, and I told her the whole story. Not the dramatic version. Not the edited one. Just the truth. And when I was done, she didn't flinch. She didn't look at me like I was broken. She just said, that must have been really hard. I nodded. It was. And then she said something I'll never forget. But you're still here. That counts for something. It does. I kept the camera. Not because I need it anymore, but because it reminds me, the truth is quiet. It doesn't yell. It doesn't force its way in. It waits, patient, in the doorway of your life, until you're finally ready to open the door. She said I was overreacting, until I showed her the footage. That was the last time she had an excuse, and the last time I ever doubted what I already knew.